Okay, once again, this is another video I'll be doing. I'm still on, right now I'm starting the book of Leviticus. So, the last video I talked about, pretty much how Moses, he was called and led the Israelites out of Egypt into better land. And he was talking on Mount Sinai to the Lord. And the Lord was instructing him what to do, and he laid upon Moses the 10 Commandments. And he had Aaron along with him, his brother. So while he was on Mount Sinai, the people, the Israelites, they began to get, arrogant, and they began to get, how we tend to do as all Christians. Some of them, especially, the ones, don't understand how it works, as far as, sometimes we have to suffer for Jesus and go through things that we don't like in order to get to where he wants us to get to. So that's just a part of, the way he does it. Okay, if you think about it, okay, the way I look at it is whenever I go through something, I think about the things that I have, the things that I need, that the Lord provides me with, like food, shelter, and clothing. People take it for granted, but you'd be surprised that it's a necessity. So, whenever I go through, the things that I want that I don't have, I'll block it out. And I'll just look at the things that I do have. If I'm able to give some clothes away that my kids can't wear, I'm blessed. If I'm able to open my refrigerator and see, food in there, whether it's food stamps or not right now, I'm blessed. If I'm able to open the door and come in and I have a sofa, somewhere to lay my head, not even a television, but a sofa, soap, and I have a bed, like a sofa, soap, and bed, then, I'm winning. So, and then if I'm able to go in my car and actually drive somewhere and get to and from, I'm winning. So I'm thinking about those things compared to, what I want. So, long story short, they begin to get, arrogant and, kind of like waiting in that lunch line, waiting for your food. Some people, they leave or wait till there's nobody there. They get, what's the word I'm looking for? Impatient. So they begin to get impatient, waiting for, he was talking to, he was so high up in the clouds with Jesus. Huh? Yeah. Okay. He was so high up in the cloud with Jesus on Mount Sinai that, the Israelites began to get a little impatient, or more impatient. So they told Aaron, we need to give praise to somebody, to a god or something like that. So what is that? Idolatry. Of course, the Lord didn't like that. He's the only God. He's the one true God, the Alpha and Omega. Okay, he's the creator of the heavens and earth. Okay, it took him 6 days to make it. And here he goes, saves these people, and they basically talking about Moses taking too long. So what happens? Aaron took the gold from them and made a calf out of it. And they began to praise and worship it. Now, the Lord was pissed and wanted to take out the people. But Moses talked the Lord out of it and, referred to him about the promise he made to Abraham and them and Isaac, about, how he set the people free and, blessed them beyond their wildest dreams and things like that. So the Lord said, okay, I'll do it. Now, Moses still was mad. He told the people, he said, if you love the Lord, then kill your brothers and your sons. And basically 3,000 people died that day. And of course, they tore the sacrifice down, and the Lord made it be known. There ain't no idol worshiping going on here. So, they're still in Midian. Now we're in the book of Leviticus. And this basically is like the chapter about, instructions from the Lord, the laws of the Lord. He laid down a law for one with the 10 Commandments, but that's leading into where we're at right now. Okay, so he had instructions for, of course, in the tabernacle, there were offerings required. And Aaron and Moses was called, of course, but he also called Aaron and his sons to be priests, to minister. Moses would take care of the big problems, and his, Aaron and his son and his brothers would take care of the small problems. So it was just, being a united front is, the strength in numbers, no matter what. And that's what we need to be. That's why I always pray for a unit to be a unified body in Christ, because we all come from different situations and circumstances. Creeds, relationships, a little bit of everything. The Lord said, "Come as you are," but you come as you are. You let Him build you up and mold you up into what not what you're going to be, but what you should be, what you're supposed to be. Because He said, "Before I knew you, you came from the womb." So He already knew who you are. Okay. Now the one thing about it, the enemy wants you to believe some things that you are not. Okay, and he's very crafty. He's the father of all lies. That's why it's important to listen to the Lord's instructions. Now, one thing I learned about life thus far in my life is when you hear more of the enemy than the Lord, I'm not saying that you're not doing that wrong, but it's the reason that the enemy's attacking you so good. I mean, not so good, but the enemy's attacking you so much because you're on a breakthrough is coming, and not just a breakthrough, but going to the next level. There's a devil for every level. In my opinion, there's devils for every level, because if it's more than one, that means especially that it's something great getting ready to come. So you just have to keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing. One word is endurance, perseverance, patience, and continue to be humble, and let the Lord fight your battles and just walk by faith, not by sight. Because like I said, one thing that could tear down or would bring the enemy power is sin. So we have to, when we're living by the flesh, instead of living by the spirit, okay, you purify yourselves, okay. And of course, that's why I say the old man is dead. We all have an old man. The old man is who we used to be, okay, without Christ. Now, can you still be the old man with Christ? Yes, you can, but you have to what? Put the old man on the cross. What I learned yesterday. So, like I said, we all are work in progress, but nobody's perfect. Now, some things the enemy will try to put in there, basically the enemy can try to make a lie look like the truth, but it's up to your belief. If you believe in God, you only believe the truth, okay? Because we're set free when he died on the cross for our sins. If you believe that, okay, that tomb is empty. So Leviticus is basically more of a law, the laws that are required to go along with the offerings for the tabernacle. Moses built the tabernacle, and it was very serious. The Lord wasn't playing around, because he said, I am holy and sanctified, so you need to be holy. And Jehovah is, okay, the Lord has many names, actually 1,000, and probably more than that. If you want to go back to the Aramaic times, but, if you want to go back to, not Aramaic times, but the Aramaic language, I believe he has more than 1,000 names. But as far as I'm concerned, Jehovah Mekodishkin, or Jehovah, what is it? Jehovah, I'll get into it. But it's one of them is the Lord who sanctifies. Okay, if you're supposed to be sanctified, okay, he requires you to be holy. So basically, Leviticus, this is what it is. The message is basically, it's talking about the holiness of God, the need for holy living, the great cost of atonement, and only offer God the best, okay? So the outline of it, he talks about the savor sacrifices, the non-sweet savor sacrifices, the priestly robes and the sacrifices, the personal purity for God's people, the instructions for the altar, the holiness for the individual, the holy priest yearly feast, and the holiness in the promised land. Now, a lot of these types of sacrifices that were required in the tabernacle is that, there were about 5 types of offerings: the burnt offering, the grain offering, the sin offering, the guilt offering, the fellowship offering. Now, with all these offerings, in Leviticus, he has instructions for all these offerings, okay? And Moses and Aaron and the rest of his sons were required, okay, to follow protocol, which means it's just like if you're going into a job interview, right? You go to the application, you get the interview, okay? Now the interview goes smooth. Now you have what? After you have the interview, and he said, okay, you want to proceed with the process, you have what? Orientation. So you come into orientation. Usually it's a bunch of people. In this case, it's ministers and priests that the Lord has called, okay, to do his will, and he has instructions. So it's just like orientation basically. Okay, the proper way to do something. Now, if you don't do it this way, of course, there's consequences. Now, in case of the Lord, death. He's not playing around. So you have to what? You have to listen, and you have to abide by it. And I'll tell you what happens coming up as I go about this video. So, like I said, you're interviewed, then you're chosen, then activated, then trained, and probation and additional training, then you're fully employed. And sometimes that can be a process with the jobs right now. That's why I'm starting my own business, but that's a whole nother presentation. Okay, so starting out in Leviticus, like I said, the ones that were chosen, Moses consecrated Aaron and his sons. They were activated, okay, baptized, or whatever the case may be, okay, for getting ready to, be priests and ministers, okay. Moses trains Aaron and his sons, okay. As the Lord trained Moses, Moses passed it down to Aaron and his sons, his brother and his sons. So it was a win-win. Okay, now probation, 2 dropout. What that means is, I'll get into that. Then Moses adds instructions. He adds more instructions, and also Aaron and his 2 other sons. He had 4 sons, I believe. Now, this is what it says. Now, then Yahweh said to Moses, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. I am Yahweh your God, so do not act like the people in Egypt, where you used to live, or like the people of Canaan, where I'm talking to you. You must not imitate their way of life. You must obey all my regulations and be careful to obey my decrees, for I am Yahweh your God. If you obey my decrees and my regulations, you will find life through them. I am Yahweh. So he's just saying, be obedient. I am holy. you know, you need to sanctify, you know, yourself. You know, if you're holy, act holy. So what that means is, sometimes, especially I learned in the spiritual battle or in spiritual warfare, you can win a fight without what? Without opening your mouth. You can win a fight actually without any actions. Because what it is, well, I'm talking about any, you know, physical action. It's not like a boxing match. A boxing match is done differently in the spiritual realm, and I understand that now. But like I said, I'm still a work in progress. But one thing that I understand is sin. Okay, now the God doesn't ask us to be perfect, but the same way He has instructions for Moses and Aaron and them, and you have to abide by them. The wages of sin is death. So of course, if you're living by the flesh and you keep sinning, and the Lord already saved you, then you know it's not good. You know what I'm talking about is if you're not trying to change, if you don't care, if you're still living of the world, for one, it's bad because you're passing it out to your children. So if you're still smoking and drinking and you know just following the world, you know, not even making an attempt. I'm not even gonna say pick up the Bible, but you know what can you do different that'll draw you closer to God? Okay, let's see here. Okay, going to church is a start. How about picking up the Bible? First of all, pray. Okay, because they said the most the battles won and the most victorious are done what? Through prayer. And prayer changes things. Prayer moves mountains. And also what? Reading. So you have, they say knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is what, you know, basically God not blesses us with, but what, you know, we develop our faith through knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We strengthen our faith through knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We grow with God as a united body of Christ through knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So no matter what you're going through in life, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Sometimes the Lord can take things to build you up, and He can go back and say, hey, you facing it, I applaud you, I commend you. Just follow my will, stick to the script. I have something in store for you. Don't worry about it. Just continue to stand firm and hold tight. So sometimes it's hard though, because it's like, you know, what am I supposed to do, Lord? This and that. But you just have to, you know, follow instructions of the Lord and just continue to obey. Okay. Now remember, He fasted. Moses stayed on Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights. God fasted for 40 nights and 40 days and 40 nights without eating anything or drinking anything. Okay, so that's just powerful. There's none like Him. None like Him. And of course, you can't try to imitate God, but He, like I said, the more you get closer to God, He'll speak to your heart and speak to your mind. Now, for those who, I think, he speaks to everyone in different ways. Because why? Because we are fearfully, wonderfully made, but we all made what? We're not made alike. We made alike in that aspect, but we're made different because we're different what? Beings. We don't have all the same, even say brothers and sisters, even though we all come from the same mother and father, from like siblings, they got the same blood, we all are what? We different in some way. Even twins. Twins don't have all similarities. They may look the same, but they don't act the same. They may not think the same. They may not like the same things, but they're twins. So it doesn't mean that, you know, because we all are different. So I think He has to speak to all of us in different ways because we're different. That's just the way it is. Some people are what? Above. Some are beyond, above and beyond. Some are what? Mediocre, and some are down below. But it's always room for what? Improvement. Because infinite, that's something we all will never get to because He's infinite. So if we're above and beyond, the closer we are above and beyond what? The world, the more we are what? Closer to infinite. And the more closer we are to infinite, that's the closer we are to God. God is omnipresent, omniscience, omnipotent. So what does that mean? That means that He's infinite. So the closer we are to infinite is the closer we are to God. Now, how can we get closer to God? We have to start by what? The way I see it is, as far as instructions, Leviticus, okay? When you start off as a born again believer, you have to get rid of the old man. It's hard, but you know, it can be done because I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now, it's easier said than done, don't get me wrong, but we all can do it, okay? Because He said that I can do all things through Christ. So what is the old man? Getting rid of things that you used to do in order to what? To prepare yourself for what God wants to bring you to. What does He want to bring you to? It's not just about the house and the car and all. It's just a close relationship with God requires what? Sacrifices. It requires what? Being on the front line. So what does that mean? Let's say if you get exposed, to, I ain't gonna say not who you was, but if you get exposed to people, if the Lord exposes you or puts your past in front of people, okay, and it's just building up your faith, like, okay, I don't care what you say. And then when you come out, you're like, okay, well, I don't care what you say. But it's just making sure that what? You learn something from it and you apply it to your life. And then what? When you win a battle and when you rise up, That's part of your growth. So like I said, you go from, it's just like a baby, you know, a baby in the womb to basically a baby being born. Then what? You feed it and nourish it and grow it and raise it up like it should be. Not teaching it to be of the world, because nowadays too many people teaching their kids to be of the world. Because you see, kids have they visualization now, in my opinion, is open up their creativity. Now, if you combine visualization with creativity on top of worldly influence, that's a lose-lose situation. Because what? All they're going to be doing is thinking, well, okay, mom and dad, this is how I'm supposed to be living for the world. They come in and what? They see what you're doing. They hear what you're doing. So they already know what you're doing. So that's why, like, it's different ways of doing things. If you can't play Monopoly with your child, what's the point of telling them to pray? If you can't, share a verse with them, what's the point of taking them to church? That's just how I look at it. Now, some people say they don't want to go to church, they don't feel like it. Everybody's not out for your money and everything. It's the way they was raised. If your mom and dad taught you, okay, don't even do that, they're going to take your money, then that's what I mean. You have to change your way of thinking. If you could teach it, let's say you could teach a child, okay, men could teach their children if you're a real man, you could raise your child up to be a man, your son. If you could raise your daughter up to be a daughter, a woman of society. But are you raising them to be a worldly influence, to be above and beyond worldly influence, or so they could be close, so they could know God and be close to, or are you raising them to be above and beyond infinite, which is not possible. But the world makes you think to that, because he says, do what you want. That's what the enemy says. Do what you want. So if you think you can do what you want, and and ain't no consequences for it, then you're gonna lose. You're already teaching your kids how to lose, basically. By following the world, you're teaching your. So I say I was a victim of that. I was teaching my kids how to lose, doing things around them that I shouldn't, doing things in their sleep. Like right now, the old me, I probably be down here probably masturbating. True story. And I'm not going to be ashamed to say, to admit it, but like I said, when you're living for the world, there ain't no telling, it's just your mind. Now, of course, you don't understand what you're doing and what doors you open up, but as you get closer to the Lord, you're like, well, damn, all you can do is what? You can either beat yourself up or you can move on from it. Now, what the enemy likes to do is hold things against you, but this is why the instructions, like when Leviticus he applied to, he says, be holy, sanctify yourself. That means don't think the same way, don't react the same way. So, of course, I admit I have a problem still, because it's like, okay, what am I supposed to do? He said, when you resist temptation, the devil will flee. So when you resist it, he has no choice but to flee. Sometimes the enemy wants you to believe this still you. It's not still you. And he might want you to believe something that was you that never was you. So it's different ways. That's why he's the father of all lies. He can even take a lie, manipulate you into believing it, and then you carry it try to carry it to the cross, and then you get in trouble for it. So it's a bunch of baloney. It's manipulation. He can use everything he can against you, because he was there at the womb too. But the Lord chooses who he calls. He said, I choose who I give mercy to, and who I give favor to, and all that stuff. So some favor can come in the form of different ways. Okay, but we are, at the end of the day, Leviticus is the book of law. It's different instructions that he requires us to have. Now, going back to what I was saying, okay, like I said, Moses and them Moses was called, and the same instructions God gave to him, not just the commandments, but in Leviticus, the book of the law, he passed down to his brother Aaron, who passed down to his sons, because they were all called, okay. So, I think, to my knowledge, Aaron had 4 sons. Now, what they did was, I'm going to tell you what they did. His sons, I think it was, forgive me the names, the sons were, Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu. What they did was, they didn't properly listen to God. So they died, okay? They put coals of fire in their in their incense burners and sprinkled incense over them. And God didn't tell them to do that. So by doing this, they disobeyed the Lord by burning the wrong kind of fire. Okay, so it was different than what the Lord told them to do. And this is what I mean by follow instructions. If I tell you don't put your hand in the cookie jar, and you put your hand in the cookie jar, and you get in trouble, it's that simple. It's just like society. If I tell you, don't steal nothing, but you hungry, but there's food in there, but you just going for what you want instead of being thankful for what you need, what's going to happen? You're going to suffer the consequences. And some people, they do it over and over again to the point where they have to They have to give up on their flesh. Some people be living by the flesh. You could be as real as the realest of the realest and be a fleshly person. And you still losing. It don't matter how much money you got. It don't matter what car you drive. It don't matter what house you got. If you living by the flesh, you really losing, because at the end of the day, it's going to catch up with you. How it's going to catch up with you? For one, you pass it on. If you got a family, you teaching them how to be of the world and living by the flesh. For two, it's going to reap. You're going to reap what you sow. So at the end of the day, why would you want to what? Pass down your negative habits to your children instead of teaching them the opposite of what you're doing. So the only way you can do that is what? Change yourself. Now, will it take time? Of course it will. But a lot of things, people fear stuff. That's what I realized. They say fear. Okay, the devil's instilling fear in people because they scared to what? To let things go. I'm not talking about relationships and everything. I'm talking about things that's holding back and getting to the next level. It could be a cigarette, it could be a blunt, it could be a 40. It could be a game. It could be television. You'd be surprised how many people are addicted to what? To television. They wake up with it. They go through on a day off. Ain't nothing wrong with watching TV, kicking your feet up and relaxing. But if that's all you're doing, you don't want nothing out of life. I mean, the Lord instructed you. He said, "What? To much is given, much is required." Some people scared of that part. If you serve a God with a big vision of, a big Lord, and he just give you instructions, he said, "What?" He didn't say He didn't say I succeed. He said, "Try." So that's all he asking you to do. You drive by. He give you instructions. Say, "Oh, don't think big." He ain't say don't think big. You think big, because when you think big, what? You do big, and then what? When you do big, God steps in a big way. But what you have to do, you have to what? Follow his instructions. So at the end of the day, that's what it's going down to. Now these fools, they put the thing in wrong. So it's like kind of like not the three stooges, but the two stooges, and they died. And this is just an example of them. Now his other two sons, I think it was Issachar and Athar. I think that's what their name was. They both they told him, okay, pick up your brothers, because pick up your brothers. So imagine your two brothers, God forbid, something happened to them because they don't follow directions. You hear about it. You learn from it, and basically you got to learn from what the mistakes they made. The same way you go to a job. I remember I had a job, and they was kind of talking about, how people injure themselves, okay, because they didn't follow directions, and they kind of stick with you. Like, okay, this is what you don't do, but you don't want it to learn from you learn from your mistakes from your siblings, but to hear about it and then hear that they passed away, that's hard, God forbid. So he said, go take your brothers and bury them. And learn from what they did, so you won't do it. So he was serious. He said, if you want to be in this tabernacle, and I called you, you got to take this serious, because otherwise, you're gonna hurt yourself more than you're hurting me, because I'm not playing around. Okay, so that's who Jehovah Mikadesh is the Lord who that's what his name. Jehovah Mikadesh is the Lord who sanctifies, and there's only one Jehovah. Okay, and that's the Holy Ghost. That's the Heavenly Father. Shekinah glory, that's basically the Holy Spirit. Now, the Holy Spirit was in the tabernacle. It was all through the tabernacle, and it was around the land, okay, in the wilderness, even though they were in Mount Sinai. So that's what it is. So that's where we're at right now. I'll continue on, but basically what that tells me is sort of like it's lessons to be learned. And if you don't learn from these lessons, then it's going to follow you. Or not follow you, it's going to catch up with you. So some people think they can get away with every single thing on earth, and what they get away with on earth is going to catch up with them when that judgment day comes. And even before judgment day comes, what they think they're going to get away with can catch up with them on earth, because things that may work out for them may not work out for them. Now, that's why people are scared, I think, to go to the Lord. For one, they have fear inside of them because they feel if they change, they're going to have to what? Give up things. Some people don't want to give up things. They're stubborn. Now, me personally, I had to work on to get that out of my system, okay? Because I'm not saying I was trying to tell God what to do, because He only has your best interest for you. But it's hard. This walk is hard, and even praying for your enemies. That before I close, it's hard, because somebody's trying to tear you down or make your life live in hell. You actually telling me to pray for these people, but that's what the Lord says. He didn't say like them and love them. He said pray for them. So, and pray for those that persecute you. That's hard. Persecution, you think about God persecuting him, but his persecution and sacrifice, you can't compare that to none of it. Okay? He died on the cross for all our sins. So at the end of the day, that just tell me, you just got to follow his instructions and his will for your life, no matter what. It is hard. Because this walk is not easy, but I feel that a lot of people, they're so tough and so, cocky and this and that. I don't care who you are. You're scared, because at the end of the day, you're scared. For one, as far as I'm concerned, I feel scared of change, because, of course, the Lord basically, when you go to the Lord and you ask for forgiveness for your sins and He forgives you, you know, He said He never leave you nor He forsake you. So say you go to Jesus, you never done it before, He ain't gonna leave you. But sometimes what you can leave Him. He said He gave us free will. You can do what you want or you can do things my way. Now, my way you may not like all, but it's better what? It ain't just about 10 times fold, I'm gonna bless you, because you know how close you gotta be with God and how much you gotta change to get blessed 10 times fold. It's not even that. Because the blessings, like I said, I learned since I've been with God, you know what I learned? Money the root of all evil. It almost cost my life, but glory to God it didn't. And I also learned that peace of mind is more important than money. I'd rather have peace of mind and then on earth. Even if I know I'm gonna have a big income, but all I'm saying, because I believe I still could be a billionaire, and I can invest $1 billion in God's kingdom. But that's a whole different ball game. It's all about the mind. So the things that I'm going through, the Lord said, okay, I'm going to have to not piss you off, but I'm going to have to, if you want to be really a billionaire, invest $1 billion in my kingdom, you're going to have to, grow into that, because that's what I mean. A lot of things you got to grow into. So it's not, I feel a lot of people, they scared to suffer, because when you come to the Lord, like the first thing is, okay, dang, I just suffered, and you're going to tell me I got to suffer some more. Well, I got to, first, for one, I got to work on you. It's just like going to tutoring. If you keep failing a test, and you ain't passing that test, what, you got to get tutoring. So that's the Lord. He's the major tutor. While he tutoring you, He gonna give you instructions, and that's kind of what Leviticus is, the book of law. There's rules you gotta follow. The 10 Commandments is serious, because people can get what? These people, like you said, you see the 2 brothers passed away because they didn't listen. I think they wanted to do things their own way, and figure it could sort of kind of do things their own way and figure that it would still work out for good. And that's why I think He says lean not to your own understanding, because when you try to do things for that way, that's what happens. So at the end of the day, that's all I'm gonna leave it at. And I'm still gonna be in Leviticus. So that's pretty much where that's at. Just stay tuned for the next one. Good practice though. It's definitely good practice. See, then after that, it's like my mind goes blank. My mind goes blank. Just because the Lord wanted me to put me on a high pedestal for a reason. So I just gotta get there. I'll get there though. Because I'm not gonna keep dwelling on this stuff. Eventually, it's all gonna go away. That's what I'm looking forward to. Me personally, I'm gonna get a better perspective of how this works.